अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So, welcome to the seventh semester. We are beginning today our seventh semester, and in this semester we have Purshat Siddh Upay. Pursat Siddh Upay. Okay, we put it in short as PSU. This particular scripture is written by Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, very famous Acharya who has written commentary on Samaisar by the name of Atmakhyati. He has written a commentary on Pravachan and he has written a commentary on Panchastikai. So, five of the major scriptures written by Kunkund Acharya, out of these five, three have been on three particular scriptures, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev has written commentary. Okay. Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev was here in India 1000 years ago. Kunkund Acharya was here in India 2000 years ago. Okay. So after Kunkund Acharya, after 1000 years, Acharya Amrit Chandra was here and he wrote the commentaries and independent scriptures in Sanskrit language. Whatever Kunkund Acharya has written was in Prakrit language. But Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev's language was Sanskrit, because by the time, after 1000 years, the language that was locally used was Sanskrit. Okay. And now we are studying in Hindi. Okay. Another 1000 years, it is Hindi. Another 1000 years, it will be something else. We never know. So languages also change with time. So this particular scriptures was written in Sanskrit language, which was popular at that point of time. Most of the people would understand Sanskrit, so that's why it's written in Sanskrit. Okay. In this particular scripture, the main theme is right belief, right knowledge, and right conduct. But the special emphasis is on the right conduct, and right conduct we can discuss at two levels. One is at the householder level or the lay person level, and another one is at the monk or ascetic level. Okay. So in this particular scripture, Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev has given special emphasis on the householder. What householder should do, what should be his outer external behavior. Okay. What are the things that he should do at this level? Everything is mentioned in this. So it is one of the two famous Shravakachars. The other is Samanbhadra Acharya's Ratnakaran Shravakachar. Okay. So Ratnakaran Shravakachar and Purshat Siddhi Upay are the most two famous scriptures regarding householders' conduct. Okay. So very much related to us. The main surprising thing is Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev's commentary on Samaisar. If you read, it is so spiritually oriented, adhyatmic, it's just deal with only the soul, pure soul, related to pure soul. So he was so deep into it, but at the same time, he also thought of writing something on Charnan Yoga. So this is a scripture on Charnan Yoga by Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev. So if you are very deep into Dravyan Yoga, you have to balance the Charnan Yoga also. Okay. So Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, who has written such magnificent commentaries on Samay Sar, Pravachan Sar, he took time out to write this scripture from the Charnan Yoga. Because if there is no balance in your life, you will not be able to live a happy life, right? So to live a happy life, you have to balance among the four anuyogs. You have to balance between Nischay and Vyavhar. You have to balance between five samvai, five concomitant factors. Okay. So these are some of the things that if you understand very clearly, you'll be able to balance a life, balance your life. And when you balance your life, you have everything in your life in the right proportion. You are a responsible householder, you are a responsible parents in terms of relationship, you are a responsible businessman, you are a responsible seeker also. Okay. So everywhere you are able to balance if you understand four anuyogs very nicely, if you are able to understand Nischay and Vyavhar very nicely. So that's why when I started this happiness course, the first thing after the introductory chapter we dealt was four expositions. And then of course, real point of view and conventional point of view. So when you understand these two particular chapters very clearly, you are able to comprehend the message what our acharyas and tirthankars uh, were giving to us, you know. And unless and until you don't understand the scripture in the right sense, you are not going to get the fruits. Okay. So everything is very connected. Pursat Siddhi Upay, let's begin. Uh, Initially in the beginning only, there is a invocation in Hindi. Of course, there is a translation also available. So in English, translation is also there. So first I would like to read in Hindi, because this Mangalacharan is written by Pandit Todarmalji. So this is in old Hindi. This is not in Sanskrit. But the main sutras or the main chand, main verses, that will be in Sanskrit. Okay. So before we get into that, this Mangalacharan of Pandit Todarmalji, we are going to recite that, and every two lines I will explain the meaning. परम पुरुष निज अर्थ को साधी हुए गुण वृंद, आनंदामृत चंद्र को वंदत हूँ सुख कंद. So in the very first verse, Pandit Todarmalji says, having accomplished their own supreme purpose, of gunas. So we're talking about Arihant Dev. Okay. So in pay reference to Dev Shastra. So here also the first verse is about Dev, the second is about the Shastra, Jinvani, and the third is about the true monk. Okay. So the first one, which is relating to the Arhant. Okay. So Acharya Kalp Pandit Todamalji says, having accomplished their own supreme purpose, means they have now manifested the Arihant Avastha. Okay. They have become a multitude of gunas. Okay. So they have manifested all their attributes purely. Okay. 100% purity at the 13th stage. I bow to Amrit, Anand Amrit Chandra, the source of bliss. So Amrit also means bliss. Okay. So it's a two-way word where one is depicting the bliss. At the same time, it is also referring to Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, who has written the, okay. So I bow to Anand Amrit Chandra. Okay. Param Purush. Param Purush means the one who has accomplished everything. Aryant and the Tirthankar. परम पुरुष निज अर्थ को साधी हुए गुणवृंद. Oh, they've manifested all their attributes as pure. Anand Amrit, full of eternal bliss. Okay. Chandra ko, Amrit Chandra ko. So Amrit Chandra here means Acharya Amrit Chandra. Vandat hu sukh I bow to that Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev. Second verse. Vani bin ben na bane. Ben means vachan, speech. So second verse is about uh, invocation to the scriptures. Okay. So Vani bin ben na bane. Ben bina bin nan. Nan means eyes. Nan bina na ban bane. Ban is the Syadvad Vani. Okay. The relative speech. Namo Vani bin ban. I bow to that speech, So translation is, without speech, words do not arise. Without words, the eyes do not function. Without eyes, there is no aiming. Salutation to that speech which exists beyond words. Okay. So the second verse, solution to the speech, that is Jinvani Shastra. The third is to solution to the monks or the ascetics. Guru ur bhave aap par tarak varak pap. Varak means destroy. Tarak means to rescue. Pap means sin. Sur Guru gave, reverend monks, aap par harak vach kalap. So they used to argue with the scholars of other religion, and they used to defeat them. And at that time there was a rule, the one who gets defeated accepts the religion of the one who has won. Okay. So in this way, the Digambar monks at that point of time, they won over their debaters, counter debaters, by sheer their knowledge. Okay. They were so qualified. The third we will understand from the translation also. The Guru with inner feeling directed towards the self is one who carries across and removes sin. The teacher of the celestial praises that very self, destroyer of the entire multitude of speech. Okay. So Sur Guru means the teacher of the celestials. Okay. Praises that very self, destroyer of the entire multitude of speech. Fourth verse, 1, 2, 3, fourth. Okay. Again, it's an invocation. So again, they are going to, let's see whom. Number 4. मैं नमो नगन जैन जन ज्ञान ध्यान धन लीन. So again, this is about the monks. मैं न मान बिन दान धन ऐन हीन तन छीन. I bow to the sky-clad Jaina ascetics, absorbed in the wealth of knowledge and meditation. So the monks have only two jobs. Either they are meditating or they are manifesting knowledge. Either they are writing the scriptures or they are giving the preachings. Okay. So Gyan and Dhyan, these two are the functions of the monk. Okay. So either they are acquiring knowledge or they are meditating. I bowed to the sky-clad Jaina ascetics, absorbed in the wealth of knowledge and meditation, free from desire and pride, possessing the wealth of giving, devoid of possessions, their bodies emaciated. So these monks are devoid of any kinds of possessions. So there are 14 internal possessions and 10 external possessions. The monks are devoid of both of these. So this is the fourth one. Now, okay, only 4 are there. So last one also about the monk. So they are self-satisfied in the self. Okay. Okay. Now, there is further some explanation, and then there is one more, I think it is again written by Todermalji only. Okay. This is again written by Todermalji. So this is the meaning explained in short. Now we are discussing the 4 words that we read. There also here is also the meaning. Okay. He who have accomplished the purpose of his own supreme blissful nature. So the first verse was about Jinendra Dev, Arihant, okay, Tirthankar, has become of the form of a pure aggregate of gunas. They have manifested all the attributes as pure. Those Anand Amrit Chandra, Jinendra Dev, I, who am the source of bliss from the standpoint of substance, offer veneration. Okay. From the standpoint of substance means from the real point of view. Then the second one, without speech, statements cannot arise, and without statement, the exposition of viewpoints is not valid. Without the exposition of viewpoint, speech of the form of syadvad, speech of the form of syadvad, describing the true nature of a thing, cannot arise yet. In your speech, though of the form of syadvad, relative speech. Syadvad is relative speech where everything is being said from a certain perspective. Is without letters. I bow to that speech. Then the third verse. Those gurus whose praise is sung by the teacher of the celestial, Brahaspati, who through words that delights their own and others' minds, accomplish their own and others' welfare, and destroy sins. May those guru dwell in my heart. Okay. So the third one is an I bow to the sky. By knowledge and meditation, who are from desire and pride, arrogance, doership, possessiveness, who shower religious religious instructions like a cloud, who are free from sin and of emaciated body, that is, whose kashais and body are attenuated, and who are exceedingly robust in the nature of knowledge. Okay. Robust means strong, firm in the nature of knowledge. Okay. So this is again a veneration to the monks only. Okay. Now there is another chand coming up, that is Kavit Savaiya. So that is again a style of reciting the verse. I will read it in Hindi first and then I will explain the English meaning. कोई नर निश्चय से आत्मा को शुद्ध मान, भये है स्वच्छंद न पीछाने निज शुद्धता। कोई व्यवहार दानशील तप भाव ही को, आत्म को हित जानी छोड़े नहीं मुद्दता। कोई व्यवहार नहीं निश्चय के मार्ग को, भिन्न भिन्न जानी पहचानी करे उदता। जब जाने निश्चय के भेद व्यवहार सब, कारण को उपचार माने तब बुद्धता। Then there is a दोहा, श्री गुरु परम दयालु हो, दिया सत्य उपदेश, ज्ञानी माने जान कर ठानत मुड़ कलेश. So the meaning of this is that some person one's own purity. Self-willed means don't want to follow the Jinendra Bhagwan's instruction. They want to behave on their own independently. Okay. So they become self-willed and they are not able to recognize their own purity. Because to recognize your own purity, you have to be very humble, very respectful to the seniors, masters. Okay. So if you are not following the instructions set by the Jinendra Bhagwan, Tirthankar, then you will not be able to realize yourself. Okay. So always take guidance from your seniors, because they are the one who have walked on this path and they've accomplished what has to accomplish. So we also need to follow in their footsteps, obeying their instructions, and then we will also be able to realize ourselves. Some, by the conventional viewpoint, take charity, conduct, austerity, and disposition alone to be the good of the Atma, and therefore do not abandon delusion. Okay. So if you adopt the conventional viewpoint and you get involved in all the activities which are depicted in conventional viewpoint, then also you will not be able to get rid of the delusion. And unless and until delusion goes away, the right belief does not set in. Okay. So first and foremost priority would be to get rid of the delusion. Okay. Some, knowing and recognizing the path of the conventional viewpoint and the real viewpoint as different, become obstinate. So one become Nisyabhasi, the other become Vyavarabhasi, and the third one become Ubhayabhasi. Okay. They had got the wrong belief regarding both the real viewpoint and the conventional viewpoint. Okay. And the third category of believer. When one knows all the distinctions of the real viewpoint and the conventional viewpoint and accepts cause as treatment, then there is wisdom. Okay. So we must know the real point of view and conventional point of view. Simultaneously, we must know the four exposition also, because these are the major you can say software to unlock the spiritual knowledge. Okay. So these two acts as a software. So you have a computer with you. But unless and until you um, download the software, will not be able to operate it, right? So similarly, the point of view and the four expositions are the software through which we are able to understand the scriptures. Okay, so good understanding of that is a must. Now the other last doha, Sri Guru Param Dayalu Ho. Oh, Diya Satya Updesh. Now in these times, where you find the true instructions, okay, very difficult. Everyone consider themselves to be knowledgeable, but in reality they are ignorant. Okay, so it's very rare to find a proper knowledgeable person who knows all the perspectives, and whatever he says is for the welfare of the people at large. It's very difficult to find. Okay, translation. The Venerable Guru, being supremely compassionate, has given the true instruction. The knowledgeable one, having known it, accepts it. The deluded one fixes upon affliction. Okay, so only the knowledgeable knows about it and accepts it. Rest of the people, under the influence of delusion, does not accept it, and they suffer from miseries. Okay. Now the author of the treatise, Sri Amrit Chandra Dev, for the purpose of an auspicious invocation, remembers his chosen deity. Okay. So earlier Manglacharan was done by Todarmalji, because Todarmalji has written a commentary on this. Okay. So now Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev, while starting the scripture Purshat Siddh Upay, he also puts in a invocation. Okay. Remembers his chosen deity, that is the Aryanta Dev, and begins this treatise, one in which there is instruction presenting the unity of the real and the conventional path to liberation. Okay. Presenting the unity. Unity means the balance. Okay. You must understand real viewpoint as real and conventional viewpoint as conventional. Okay. So these are the paths to liberation which are causative in the fulfillment of the purpose of this jiv. So what is the purpose? Can anyone say? What is the purpose of this soul?
To attain liberation.
Yes. And what kind of effort you need to put in to get to that liberation? So this is the so what we should do to accomplish your purpose of being happy. Okay. So that's why its name is Purshat Siddh Upay. So the first verse is coming up. I will read the Sanskrit one, then we will refer to the meanings. Tajjayati param jyotiha samam samastarenanta paryaye darpan tal iv sakla pratifalati padarth malika yatra. Okay. So first we will see the word by word meaning. Okay. And then we will come back to the translation. Okay. This will be the our modus operandi while reading the scripture. First we will break the words and understand their meaning, and then come back to the translation. Okay. So yatra. Yatra means in which. Darpana. Tala eva. Darpan means mirror, like the surface of a mirror. Sakala means entire. Padarth Malika, collection of entities. Samaster Ananta Paryayahi Samam, together with all infinite paryas. That means past, present, and future. All the three times modification. Pratipalati is reflected. Tat, that. Param Jyoti, supreme pure conscious light. Jayati is victorious. So now we come back to the translation. It was in the previous page. That supreme light alone is victorious, which is uniform with all infinite paryas, modifications, in which the entire garland of padarths means substance, is reflected just as on the surface of a mirror. So our knowledge screen is compared to the mirror. Okay. So in whose mirror objects are being reflected? Only the omniscience. Okay. So in this invocation, the Kevli omniscience soul. Now we'll read the commentary also. Tat Param Jyoti Jayati. That illumination which is the most excellent, pure consciousness abides as victorious. What is it like? So this is, they are referring to the omniscience knowledge here as Jyoti, that illumination which is the most excellent, pure consciousness. Now this is omniscience knowledge. Abides as victorious. What it is like? Yatra sakala padartha malika pratifalita. In that illumination of pure consciousness, the entire collective with there in this universe, everything reflected in that knowledge. In what manner? It is reflected together with all its infinite modifications. Past modification, present modification, and future modification. Everything is being reflected in that omniscience knowledge. Now, Bhavarth, explanatory meaning. Such indeed is the greatness of the illumination of pure consciousness. Okay. That is omniscience knowledge. That whatever entities there are, all of them appear manifest together with their own respective forms. And however, many past, future, and present paryas, modification, there are of those very entities, all of them are reflected therein in one moment. Okay. Every moment the modification keeps on changing, but it reflects everything in the universe. Not a single entity is unknown to him. In what manner? Just as pot, cloth, and the like are reflected on the surface of a mirror, similarly, the knowledge of the omniscience, in that also everything is being reflected. Here, the example of a mirror is given for the purpose of understanding that the mirror does not have any such intention that I should reflect these entities, but automatically the things gets reflected. So similarly, the Aryan Bhagwan, the Tirthankar, they also don't have desire to see everything, but those gets reflected automatically without any effort, without any intention. Just as an iron needle moves of its own accord towards a magnet. In the same way, the mirror does not abandon its true go towards the entities in order to reflect them. Okay. So the entities are there in its place. The knowledge screen is there in its place. But the power of knowledge is such that all the entities are reflected in his pure conscious form. Okay. So nor do entities abandon their own nature and enter into that mirror. Okay. Only it gets reflected. The entities does not enter the mirror and the mirror also does not go to the entities. But thus there is a relationship of reflection in the mirror about the entities appearing outside. Just as one person may say to another, "You must do this work for us." In the same way, those entities also do not entreat the mirror in order to have themselves reflected. Okay? It automatically gets reflected without asking for. Rather, there is a natural relation such that whatever from those entities have, whatever form those entities have, they are reflected in the mirror in exactly that very same form. Upon being reflected, the mirror does not consider that these entities are good for me, beneficial for me, worthy of attachment, or bad and worthy of aversion. It functions with an attitude of equanimity towards all entities. Okay. So these entities gets reflected in that mirror, okay, exactly in the same form as the entities are. Okay. And mirror does not consider that these entities are good for me or bad for me. So he remains in equanimity and towards all these entities. Just as many entities such as spots, clothes, and the like are reflected in a mirror, in the same way, all entities beginning with Jeev are reflected in the mirror in the form of knowledge. There is no dravya, gun, or paryay which does not come within knowledge. Such is the supreme excellence of that illumination which is pure consciousness, omniscient knowledge. Its greatness is worthy of praise. Here, someone may raise a question. Attribute indeed of any particular entity has not been. What is the reason for this? First, the entity named and therefore and thereafter its gun or the attribute should be described. Its answer is this. Here the Acharya has manifested his examination oriented approach. Devotees are of two kinds, those oriented towards command and those oriented towards examination. Which one is the better one? Those who just follow the command or the one who first examines and then believe in it? So the second category is always the better one. Those jivas who proceeding along the traditional path at least has come down, somehow or other accept the instruction of Dev and Guru as authoritative and engage in conduct in the form of reverence and the like are called command oriented. They just give what their seniors have instructed to them and they follow them very religiously. Now coming to the other category, which is exam oriented. No designation, external appearance, or place is worthy of worship. qualities alone are worthy of worship. Therefore, here the Acharya has ascertained that the quality which is of the nature of illumination as pure consciousness is worthy of praise. Okay, so the omniscience knowledge is being praised. One in whom such a quality exists thereby becomes worthy of praise naturally, because the quality is dependent upon a substance and it is not separate from the substance. When this is ascertained with such reflective consideration, then that very quality is found manifestly in the Aryant and the Siddha. In this manner, the praise of one's chosen deity has been made. Okay, so Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev also praised the Aryant and the Siddha, which falls into the category of Dev. Now, Shastra. Second verse is about the Shastra. Praise of the chosen Agam. I will read the Sanskrit one first. Parmagamasya jivam निषीदजात्यन्त सिन्दूरविधानम् सकलनैविलसितानां विरोधमन्थनं नमाम्य को नमाम्यनेकान्तम्. Translation: I bow to Anekant. So just because this is an invocation for the scriptures, so here they are bowing to Anekant. It's a principle of the theory of non-absolutism, the theory of multifacetedness. Okay, so I bow to Anekant, which is the very life of the Supreme Agam. Of fixed kinds, and that churns away the conflicts that is the minds all viewpoints. Okay, so you remember that example of elephant, 6 blind person, each touching a part of the elephant, and they were arguing themselves. Okay, so someone is saying that the elephant is like a leg. Someone says that elephant is like a trunk. Someone says the elephant is like a tail. Okay, so what is the reality? So then the reality would be explained by this Anekant principle. Now we will see the meaning of each word. First one is Nishiddha Jatyanda Sindura Vidhanam. That which neglects the elephant like obstinacy of those blind by fixed categories. Then Sakala Nai Vil Sitanam, of the nature of reality manifested through all viewpoints. Nayas. Virod Mathanam, remover of opposition. Parmagamasya, of the supreme Jaina doctrine. Jivam, that which is its very living core, retained in IAST as pure rule. one minute, Jivam, what they want to say, Jivut. So here in this particular verse, they are bowing to the Anekant, the principle of Anekant. Anekant, the one-sided, the non-one-sided principle. One-sidedness free Syadvad. Namami, I bow to. Now, the commentary. Aham Anekantam Namami. I, author of the treatise, bow to Anekant, one-sidedness free Syadvad. The theory of non-absolutism. Here someone may raise a question, instead of bowing to the Jinagam, why has obedience been offered to Syadvad? What is the reason for this? Syadvad means relative speech. Its answer is this: what is that Syadvad to which obeisance has been offered? Dharmagamasya Jivam. It is the Jivam of the supreme Jaina doctrine. Just as a body functions only when endowed with Jiv, and a lifeless body is of no use at all, in the same way the Jaina doctrines is verbal in form and its statements proceed sequentially. Whatever it states is stated with the predominance of a single Nai. Okay. Nevertheless, the Jaina doctrine is pervaded everywhere by Syadvat. So each and every sentence of Jinvani, you will see this Syadvad, relative speech everywhere. So that is pervaded. Pervaded means spread. This principle of Syadvad is spread everywhere in the Jinvani. Whatever is being said, it is being said from a particular perspective. And from that perspective, if you understand that thing, you will be able to realize the true meaning of the scriptures. And if you do it self-willed, then you will not get rid of the delusion. Okay? Very clear. Now, where there is predominance of one nai, there the other nai is relative. Okay. Therefore, the Jaina doctrine is operative for this jiva. Okay. If you highlight one, the other would be, of course, ignored. Okay. The doctrine of other systems okay. So we are here. Okay, fine. What is Syadvad like? So this Syadvad, it is such that it has removed the elephant-like construction of those who are blind by birth. Just as many men blind by birth came together and through their respective sense of touch separately apprehended different limbs of an elephant, and lacking eyes and thus not knowing the complete elephant in its entirety, began to describe the elephant in many ways, each taking only one limb as the whole, and thereby entered into mutual debate and dispute. Then a sighted man ascertained the elephant correctly and removed their various imaginings. In the same way, the ignorant person, by one's own intellect, ascertained different aspects of a single entity in separate and divergent ways. Without right knowledge, Not knowing the entity in its entirety, one takes the entity to be one-sided and engages in mutual debate and dispute. There, by the power of the doctrine of Syadvad, the one endowed with right knowledge determines the entity in its true form and removes those various imaginings. Its illustration is this. Just as the flower of Sankhya holds the entity to be eternal alone. Sorry. Just as the follower of Sankhya. So Sankhya is again a sect, Just as we are Jain, there is another religion called Sankhya Mat. So just as the follower Sankhya holds the entity to be eternal alone, we have Nitya. They say it's eternal alone, unchangeable alone. And the follower of Buddhism holds it to be the momentary alone. So one says it is eternal alone, Nitya alone. Another says that it is Anitya alone. The proponent of Syadvad says, that is Jainism says, if the entity were entirely eternal, how could the transformation of many states takes place? Every moment there is a new modification coming up. So the entity is such that it keeps on manifesting every moment. At the same time, it is eternal also. Utpad Vyay Dravya. Okay. So evolution and extinction happens in the modification, and the substance remains unchangeable, permanent. Okay. So, if the entity were entirely eternal, so the entity is not entirely eternal and not entirely momentary also. It is somewhat eternal and somewhat momentary. Okay. And if the entity were taken up to be entirely momentary, how could there be recognition such as this is the very same entity which was seen earlier? Okay. Therefore, in some respect, kathanchit, conditionally, from the standpoint of dravya, the entity is eternal, and from the standpoint of modification, paryay, it is momentary. In this manner, when determination of the entity in its entirety is made through syadvad, the negation of one-sided belief takes place. Okay? The negation of one-sided belief takes place. Again, what is syadvad like? Sakala nai vilastam viroda mathanam. It removes the opposition present in the nature of reality as illuminated through all viewpoints. Okay. So the substance is substance itself. There is no problem over there. But our understanding has to be correct. Okay. So it removes this Syadvad, this language of the omniscience. It removes the opposition present in the nature of reality as points. Now Bhavarth. From the standpoint of Nai intention, Nai Viveksha, an entity has many natures, multifaceted existence and non-existence, then one and many. Okay. Sat, asat, ek, anek, differentiation and non-differentiation, bhinna, abhinna, permanence and impermanence, dhruv, adhruv, and so on. In this mutual opposition appears, yet in reality, in these mutual opposition appears, yet in reality there is no opposition. For example, existent, asti, and non-existent nasti appear mutually opposed. But when established through Syadvad, all opposition is removed. How is this so? One and the same entity is in some respect kathanchit existence with reference to its own fourfold determinants, swachatushtay. Okay? And in some respect. So what is this swachatushtay? Swadravya, swakshetra, swakal, swabhav. Okay? Swa means the self, self substance, self space, own substance, own space, own time, and own disposition, own bhav. Okay? So this was chatushtay, and with reference to its own fourfold determinants, and in some respect non-existent with reference to the fourfold determinants. Okay, so it is existent as well as non-existent simultaneously, same time. Only thing is that there is a limitation of speech. It cannot say both aspects simultaneously. It has to say one by one. That is the limitation of the speech. But as far as the substance is concerned, it consists of mutually opposite properties simultaneously. So from its own own from its own reference, it is existing, and from the reference to the other, it is non-existing. In some respect, with reference to the whole, it is one. In some respect, with reference to gun and paryais, it is many. In some respect, with reference to designation, number, characteristics, and purpose, it is of the nature of many differentiation, such as gunas and paryais, and in some respect, with reference to being sat, it is of the nature of non-differentiation. In some respect, from the standpoint of dravya, it is permanent. In some respect, from the standpoint of modification, it is impermanent. Okay. So mutually opposite properties existing in the same substance could only be explained through relative speech called syadvad. Okay. Now they are explaining the meaning of the word syadvad. In this manner, syadvad removes all opposition. Syat means in some respect, that is with reference to an I. Vad means the statement of the nature of reality. This is called syadvad. It is to this that obeisance has been offered. Okay. So this was about the Shastra. So first it was Dev Shastra. Now the third one is about the monk. Okay. The Acharya makes a vow to compose the treatise. Okay. So now onwards, we will just see the meaning. Okay. Only the meaning of the words is there in the syllabus. The commentary is not there, but you should read the commentary as a homework. Okay. First two words we have read everything, but now we are just going to refer to the verse, original verse, and its meaning. Okay. Commentary you should take up as a homework. Bhavar, that is Bhavar. Okay. So now this is the third verse that we are starting now. लोकत्रयेकनेत्रं निरूप्य परमागमं प्रयत्ननेन अस्माभिरूपोद्रियते विदुषां पुरुषात् सिद्धि उपायम्. having carefully expounded the supreme agam, which is the single eye of the three worlds. This Purshat Siddhi Upay is undertaken by us for the learned. So basically, this scripture has been written for the learned. Okay. Since we also want to become learned, we are reading this. Okay. Now let's see word by word meaning. The first one is Lokatra Yeka Netram, the unique eye for illuminating the entities related to the three worlds. So, how do we know about the three worlds? Through the scriptures. Okay. Parmagamam, the supreme Jain Agam. Then Prayatnanen, with careful effort by various means. Nirupya, having ascertained and expounded, that is through exposition of the traditional Jaina doctrines. Asambhib, by us. Vidusam, for the learned. Ayam, this. Purshat Siddhi Upay, the treatise named Purshat Siddhi Upay. Upadhyayate is undertaken, is brought forth, set in motion. Okay. Now the commentary. I, the author of the treatise, bring forth this treatise named Pursat Siddhi Upay for knowledgeable jivas. That is, I set forth the means for accomplish the purpose of the conscious being. How is this done? Prayatane, by making effort in many ways with careful attentiveness. Effort is only in our hand, and here Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev is motivating us to make efforts. Parmagam Nirupya, by reflecting upon the Jaina doctrine as it has come down through the tradition to us. Okay. So originally it's the sound, divine sound of the Tirthankar. From there on, it has passed on to Gandhar, to Acharyas, and in that lineage, this Chinvani has come to us. Okay. Just as there is a lineage of instruction from the Kevalin, the Srut Kevali, and the Acharyas. Having reflected upon that lineage, I give instruction. I do not compose something imagined from my own opinion. So I am just telling what has been given in the scriptures, what I have read in the scriptures, that only I am sharing. I am not giving my own opinion. What is the Supreme Agam like? What is the Lokatray Netram? It is the unique eye for revealing the entities related to the three world. Okay. So everything is mentioned in the scriptures. So if you read the scriptures, you will able to know about the three worlds indirectly. There is a tradition that at the beginning of a treatise, the speaker, the listener, and the treatise itself should be described. Okay. This has to be the tradition. So what are the responsibilities of the listener? What are the responsibilities of the speaker? And what's the treatise is all about, that has to be described in the beginning. Okay. Now the fourth verse is about the characteristics of the listener. No, characteristics of the preacher. the speaker. Okay. Fourth one is about the speaker. Translation. So first I will read the Hindi one. मुख्य उपचार विवरण निरस्त दुस्तर विनय दुर्बोधा व्यवहार निश्चय यज्ञाः प्रवर्तयन्ते जगति तीर्थम. Those who are knowers of the conventional and the real, who have removed the difficult to cross obscurities of those who are hard to discipline and hard to understand, by means of principal and secondary exposition, establish the ford. Ford means tirth in the world. Tirth means updesh. Okay, instruction. So what it says here in this particular verse, मुख्य उपचार विवरण. Those who have destroyed the difficult to remove ignorance of disciples through the exposition of principal mukhya and secondary upchar. So mukhya is nischayana, real point of view, and secondary is the conventional point of view, modes of instruction. Okay. So modes of instruction are two, one from the real point of view and other from the conventional point of view. Vyavhar nischay gna, knowers of the conventional viewpoint and the real viewpoint. Jagati, in the world. Tirtham, the religious ford. Dharma tirth. Pravartayante, cause to be established, set in operation. Okay. So this commentary, okay, it's a short commentary, we will take it up. Bhavarth you need to read as a homework. Okay. But where there will be difficult verses, we will see the Bhavarth also. What kind of, okay, this one. Acharyas who know both the conventional and the real viewpoints cause the religious ford, Dharma Tirtha, okay, to be established in this world. Okay. So those acharyas who knows all the viewpoints, they establishes this religious fort. They give these instructions, okay, to be established in this world. All the human, all the people, all the seekers of this world, for them, Acharya is giving these instructions. What kind of Acharyas are there? They are such that through principal and secondary modes of exposition, they have destroyed the vast and difficult to cross ignorance of their disciples. Okay. They have destroyed the vast and difficult to cross ignorance, okay, of their disciples. Okay. So the disciples are ignorant and the speaker, through his own explanation, is able to remove the ignorance of their disciples. Okay. So Bhavarth is something that you will read on your own. In the Bhavarth only, they have mentioned what is real point of view, the definition of real point of view and the conventional point of view. Okay. Because the primary one or the one is the Nischay and the secondary one is the Vyavharnay. So principal is Nischay, real point of view, and secondary is conventional point of view. So we also, if follow these tactics, we will be also be able to realize ourselves. Okay. And when you realize yourself, then only you are able, then only the viewpoints are applicable to you. Okay. So all these viewpoints are uh, only the enlightened soul are entitled to these viewpoints. Okay. So they are able to apply these viewpoints. So if we also want to understand this, we also have to become enlightened one. Okay. We have to realize ourselves, and then we will also be able to uh, apply this. Okay. So Acharya is doing this job. He is removing the ignorance of the disciples by using this software of point of view. Okay, Nischay nahi and Vyavhar nahi. Now, so we are not starting the fifth one. Tomorrow we'll take up from fifth one onwards. Only thing verse and a commentary by Amrit Chandra Dev. Okay. Bhavat is written by Todarmalji, that you should do it as a homework. Okay. So in today's 4 verse, we saw that in the invocation, Dev Shastra Guru were revered, salutations were laid down to them, and then Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev also, he also saluted the Tirthankars and the scriptures, and then the monks, and he also proceeded in explaining that I will be explaining you that your purpose is accomplished. What is the purpose? The purpose here is to be happy, to be passionless. Okay. So this purpose is being achieved. Here in the scripture, Acharya will try to explain us in a manner that we also realize ourselves, and when we realize ourselves, the purpose of becoming happy automatically manifest. Okay. So we are also targeting that self-realization. So Acharya Amrit Chandra Dev has written the scriptures for us only. Okay. So we will also read in the right sense, understand it in the right sense, and then with practice, we will be also able to be remain calm in crisis, in adverse situations. Wherever you go, you carry that knowledge with you. Okay. And with that knowledge, in a moment, in a few seconds, you are able to diffuse those adverse situations. There is no adverse situation in this universe. It is because of our mindset we feel something to be beneficial and something to be harmful. In reality, there is nothing beneficial or harmful in this universe. Okay. So we have to change our perception. Okay. The way we look at things. Okay. So this is a very nice scriptures. Hope you will enjoy it. You have to work a bit. Hope everyone has taken a printout. If not, then by tomorrow you should take a printout. Okay. This is the first part. This is up to verse 90. Okay. And in our syllabus, we have 1 to 110. So another 20 will come in few days. I will share it with you. So in this semester, it is 1 to 110, and then 111 to 226 in the next sem. So this our scripture has been divided into 2 semesters. Okay. So this is the 1 to 110 is in our current syllabus. Oh, I forgot. One student has joined our group. Her name is Palak. She is from Borivali only. So earlier she was in some other batch, then she took a drop. Other batch also she is going to with us, and she's going to appear for object. For giving objectives, you need some password or what, right? No, Moodle in Moodle. So you have to help her in that, getting in that. Okay. She has already spoken to Apurva ji, and that's how he has joined. She will get in touch with you to get that. What it is called? Password or what? ID, no? Some ID, no? Moodle ID or something like that. Okay. Our time is also over. Any questions for today? Yeah? You are on mute? Yeah,
No, sir,
Darshit
no,
ji.
no questions, sir. No questions.
Okay, okay,
No,
okay,
sir.
okay, okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत